I was most surprised when the email came that I was scouted to even apply. That's when I was most ecstatic, like, oh wow, they actually saw what we are doing. I only expected this to happen many years later, and suddenly it was there. The Fast Forward grant is made for mid-career artists of any performing arts genre to expand their international network and grow their art and methodology internationally with expertise from abroad. What was painfully bizarre to me is that I did not manage to get in touch with any of the programmers, the curators, the artistic directors of any of the institutions abroad that I was really interested in working with, which shows how hard the field is. I read this book, The Authority Gap, by Marianne Sieghart, about why women are still not taken seriously. It's a 300 pages dissertation with hard data about what I call the intellectual undermining of women. So being talked down to, not being taken seriously, not being paid attention to. And I thought the fact that even with so much backing from FPK, we did not manage to even get a meeting at one of my beloved institutions, I thought that's quite telling for not being taken seriously.
So that is what For Real is about?
It was a production in which I could test out all of the things that I had researched during the Fast Forward trajectory, and it all came together in terms of electronics on the harp, to my big wish to create an improvisation technique to carry live interviews and live conversations, to the bigger overreaching question, how to feel safe and how to create an inner sense of safety. Everything came together in doing For Real, and For Real also became incremental in getting the first 4-year subsidy, which we got awarded. With my company Resonate Productions, I make musical journalism, and it is the combination of in-depth social journalism with many layers of original compositions of music. We don't have background music and we don't have flimsy journalism. They're both to the highest standards of what it can be, and they influence each other. Is there a way to have a good quality of music arising on the spot as people are being interviewed, as people are speaking for the first time in this original moment of expressing themselves? And what would happen to an interview when you don't have to talk in silence, but you feel that really sensitive musicians are creating music to what you are saying in that very moment? And I called it instant musical journalism, just to have a term for me. And I wanted to figure that out. Can we manage? And For Real then became the show in which it first got to the stage. Yeah. I always select people who to work with based on character. I call them golden people. These are, very, very special people with a lot of honor and a lot of skill, of course, but that's not the most important thing. Like, how are you as a person? And I think that's a great criterion to pick up on. We made For Real with George Dumitriou and Sarah Jeffrey.
I was really intrigued by the fact that we're going to make a new genre, let's say, artistic genre, you know, that we are interviewing with music. Although I wasn't really aware at the beginning what is it going to be.
We're addressing, we call it emotional blind spots in society. So getting to problems and issues that are often overlooked. It's intense. We need a lot of time in the studio, on the floor, and we develop it together. Andrea comes prepared with a framework for us that can be the interviews that she's taken, that she's arranged into a dramaturgy, but then the content is up to us to produce together in the studio.
We actually started with the music, composing and actually figuring out how the music is going to be around the interviews, which was completely new to the three of us. We've decided to leave open parts, so not everything was composed and written down, but we will have also parts that are flexible, where we could improvise and find things that are in a moment, which I think fitted very well with the fact that we didn't know what the interviews with the audience would be.
The main artists I work with are musicians, and we have a problem within music, which is a chronic, severe lack of rehearsal time. It's terrible. To also have the funds to have an outside eye with you to carry out the feedback method, this was Burkhardt. That's unseen almost in music.
We very unconsciously created that kind of elliptic circle that was permeable enough for people to step out of their audience seat and come join the table in the center with the two stools. So we created that circle where something is happening in the middle and the music is supporting it. And I realized in the days around the premiere, oh, it's actually a very archaic model that we use here, like a circle and something is happening in the middle. We see it in hip-hop culture, we see it in very archaic drum rituals. I think what I find so beautiful is that Andrea really tries to bring awareness to the things that we might not see or we might not look at. It's really amazing how music can support and initiate also that process of like looking for these spots. That is really precious.
For Real is kind of like a social experiment, a research in real time. From what I can observe is having the biggest impact on the audience, and I guess that comes from a certain maturity and growth in building shows. I see the way how she structures everything now, how she coordinates a lot of people and delegating different tasks. Actually executing it, delivering a message in a meaningful way through different mediums. I finally was like, oh, okay, this is what musical journalism is. I get it now, you know. So I think the development curve is going like exponential.
Fast Forward allowed for a lot of growth. I have never had real institutional help from within the performing arts. Coming from this position of scarcity, like I've made many productions where I also did artistic direction, research, communication, production, bookkeeping, everything. During Fast Forward I could practice and I had more time to start learning how to delegate, and that's crucial. I'm a harpist and we have 5 good original pieces. It's not a lot. And by the time I was 25, I had played them all. I started gravitating towards using more electronics. And also realizing that I never want to notate music. I can only let out my music in the context of musical journalism that I realized during Fast Forward, actually. Gear would also allow me to travel with small harps and gear and still be able to make decent music without needing a huge pedal harp, which is not flyable, hard to transport, and in most of the regions of the world that I'm about to start working, there are no pedal harps. So I had to find a way of becoming more mobile. Learning pedals is like learning an instrument. Not only, oh, how nice this sounds, but I needed to build a system, what does what, practice, buy it, have the time to practice with it, and develop a proficiency with it so that I can predict what a pedal, a setting will do in a big chain on my instrument. And I took a lot of time during Fast Forward to learn this, and that changed everything. The Lunalia Festival of Flanders in Mechelen, led by Jelle Dierks, is really, really important. I met Jelle 2013-14 in Berlin. And I think for any artist, it's really important to feel understood. And also to feel understood in every aspect of your practice. And Jelle always got it, even when I didn't have Resonate productions yet.
In the course of the years, we developed a very, very intense relationship between Resonate Productions, Andrea Voets, and the Festival of Flanders Mechelen, or Lunalia, and also Musica Divina, our festival in autumn. It's a partnership on many levels. I want to give the freedom to Andrea and all her collaborators to experiment, to try out things. Mechelen is a really wonderful open city for that. People are very curious to see what is happening. It's small enough that you can really be very free, and it's big enough to make a difference. And for our festival, it's a festival more and more on all levels of the human voice. And what Andrea does with her projects is really offering all these levels. So not only the singing voice, but the voice that questions, the voice that hesitates, the voice that doesn't know, the voice that's searching. For me, what's fascinating about the work of Andrea and with all the collaborators she works together is that she's really searching for another way to tackle questions, to tackle emotions, to tackle problems of our time or solutions in our time. And she's really not only looking for another way, she's offering another way. She's offering an alternative, not only how to work on the level of journalism, but also how to make performances, how to make music, how to work together with a team, how to work together with an audience. I've seen now so much of the work of Andrea and seen how her Resonate Productions came into being. And you really see that she's getting more and more sure that it's one of the ways you can tackle problems, questions. So that's beautiful to see, that there's more power coming into it, that she's more and more convinced that it is a necessity. The Fast Forward program helped Andrea and on many levels. I think it's very important to have had this pat in the back. Please continue your work, do what needs to be done. I think on a psychological level it's more important even than the material level of the project. My personal belief is that the projects that Andrea does and that Resonate Productions do deserve a way bigger stage than is the case at the moment. I really think that she's offering another way of thinking, of looking, of searching, of making music, and it really deserves this international stage because it is extraordinary in many senses.
I always wanted to find ways of conveying the important messages, I think, that are in our shows to more people. And the one thing I wanted to learn is to really turn the research into an essay. By amazing help, I got into touch with Xandra Schutte from Groene Amsterdammer, and she believed in it. And I wrote my first piece based on the show Millennial History. That took me 2 months because I had never done it. Fast Forward really allowed me to take the time. Like, when could I take 2 months out of my life and practice to do that? In the end, that form will become really important. Also for me to be able to put a dot on it after finishing a show, like, and this is the thinking that's behind it. And to be taken more seriously also. Because when people see me in a live setting, I am just a girl with the harp. I've had such strange reactions of people that they cannot piece together that I am making my own work. So this is important to me. I think in that 2.5 years, I think I went through very quick development. I found a form that I really liked. I found a stable team that I want to work with. I learned to assert more authority, which is important. I have hope for the future that we might actually make it. I have 3 shows that I want to make in the future, up until the end of 2028. After that, I don't know. The visibility of the work, getting it to people is the most important, and I think everything boils down to that. Making the best possible work and getting it to the people to relate to it, to see it.
What comes next?
It could be anything knowing Andrea, really. It's always something maybe not everybody wants to talk about but needs to be spoken about. So I'm sure it's going to be something quite rough and very uncomfortable, but also enjoyable.
The research question was how to feel safe and how to create an inner sense of safety. I've used it without knowing to really create safety for the company and for all the people that are working for us. In order to be able to make that best possible work in a framework that has not been repeated by anyone yet. We have nothing to hold on to. Nothing can be copied from other fields. It is how we are doing things to make this form of art. It's time to start enjoying that, actually. Yeah.